I don't see any problem there. It's maybe, check the gap on it. Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Now, today I got something not really so much different, but another different vehicle. It's an 02 Mercury Grand Marquis. Now I picked this thing up, I think it was over this last summer, and had some issues. Customer was tired of dealing with it. He had another car anyway, and was just ready to let this one go. So I got it for a deal, and of course, what do I do with those? Usually I either fix them and sell them or keep them, which is why I end up with the fleet that I have. Now I've been on the fence with this car for a while, not 100% sure what I want to do with it, but either way I need to get this thing fixed, get it moved from where it's at, and really start driving it again and kind of make up my mind. I want you guys' opinion, because at the end of the day, that's kind of what will make the difference. If you guys are interested in seeing more of this car, leave me a comment down below. If you guys have any ideas for what you think I should do with this car, leave a comment down below. What I'd like is your opinion. And the reason I'd like your opinion is because, well, that helps me out, helps the channel out, and gives you guys something you're interested in seeing. I don't have a whole lot invested in it at this point. I fixed a few things on it, just made it a little nicer to drive, but it does need some repairs today. I noticed that the intake was starting to leak on it a while back, and then it finally gave out on me. I'm throwing lead codes on one bank, and this thing barely runs. So, the point of that today is I'm going to try and get this thing barely running again, limp it up to the shop because I don't have room in the garage right now, and we're going to get an intake put on it, get it hopefully running better again. Alright, boys and girls, well, it's a lovely 14 degrees out this morning. This thing's been sitting for quite a while, dead as a doornail. So I got the boost pack on it. Let's see if we can't get this thing chooching here. She's cold. So am I. All right, here we go. Yeah, that's about what I expected. Oh, come on. That's the best thing for these, These old 4.6s, they really like to be just cold started and then have the piss revved out of them. Come on. Lean backfire. Nothing to worry about. Like I said, I'm going to limp this thing up to the shop. Alright, we made it. Just barely. I don't know if this cold weather's helping or what, but hey, I'll take it. How about that visibility, though? Perfect. Well, boys and girls, here she is in all her glory. What a fine unit. Alright, well, step one, got the coolant draining here. I'm going to start diving in on some of this stuff. Now, I'm not going to do this as a, how-to. If you want that kind of stuff, I can. Just wanted to make mention, some of you OGs that have been watching for a while, you may recognize parts of this car, because this was actually the very first video I made, was how to, oh, pardon the light there. Let's see if I can get a little better. The first video I ever made on YouTube was actually that guy right there. How to swap on a 5.4 throttle body onto a 4.6. A little bit of an upgrade. I did some port and polish work on the upper plenum, and it's just a quick little video. It's pretty rough, nothing I'm super proud of, but it was my first video that I ever made. So this car's been around a while. It's just kind of been in the background, nothing really worth showing off. Hopefully until today. That's up to you guys. So you let me know what you want to see. I did go ahead and pick me up one of eBay's finest here. I've had pretty good luck with these things. I've had one of these cheapo eBay ones on my Explorer for probably well over 5 years now. You know, they come with all the stuff that you need. New thermostat in there, gasket, seals, stuff like that. I do like to usually do a little bit of work to these before I install them. It's gonna be kind of hard to see in there, but usually the castings are really poor on these eBay ones. And so what I do is I go through with the carbide bit and I just deburr it a little bit, and then I backfill those seams. You can kind of see right there. I backfill these seams with just plastic weld epoxy, and that seems to seal them up well. Now you can see the culprit right here. This intake's blown out here, and I suspect it's blown out back here. This bank is all throwing lean codes, and yeah, obviously she's been losing coolant for a little bit. This side's not a lot better, but you can tell original intake because it's still got the plastic crossover tube. And yeah, for the most part, this car is pretty much untouched. I've done my little bit with the throttle body, like I was saying. It's a larger throttle body off a 5.4 engine. You know, I was smelling burning leaves on the way up here. Should probably clean this thing out. But yep, so the next step here is kind of get everything off the top, get all the rest of this out of the way, move some of that stuff, and we'll be in business here. Original thermostat, that thing's pretty crusty looking. That's why we get new ones, right? Anyway, just a quick kind of port and polish inside that upper plenum. Nothing too fancy. And then, like I said, a F-150 throttle body on the thing. Again, just a little cleanup work, a little work on the old throttle blades, stuff like that. Nothing too major. It's not a race car, but it gives a little pep. We already got one bad sign. I got a bunch of coolant, oil, all that down in the spark plug wells. I'm going to do what any reasonable person would do and pretend like I didn't see it. Well, I take that back. I'll clean the oil out. I'll probably pull the spark plugs just because I have no idea if they're original. Judging by the coils, they probably are. This thing doesn't have a ton of miles on it, so, you know, we'll see what we get there. Alright, that should be all of them. Get that wire harness out. Time for the big dogs. Yep. Alright, that's off, that's off, that's off. That's fine. Let's see if we can get this out of here. Maybe. Oh, nope. You know, a good tip for doing jobs like this, if you're trying to get an intake out and you find that it's fighting you a little bit, make sure you take all the bolts out. Just because I'm lazy, I'm not going to take that swivel off. There we go. Piece of junk. All right, now before I get going too crazy, you can see there's a bunch of crud and junk built up down here. What I like to do is get the old shop vac out and a scraper and get most of that out. I don't worry too much about junk getting in the intake because I got this bad boy running while I'm running the scraper. So we'll get this cleaned up. Alright, we're going to use this old gal and try and get what we can get out of these spark plug wells. Alright, let's pull a couple plugs, see what we're working with. Ah, yes. Well, those are pretty much brand new. Alright, well, we're getting there. Intake's off. I got everything cleaned up in there. Looking pretty good. Ready to go. Got all the spark plugs pulled out. And as you can see, they're pretty much brand new. So I'll probably, check the gap on them. And we'll send them again. Yeah, otherwise, no issues there. Coils, they're going to need a little cleanup because they got, most of them I got over here in the drain pan because they're just dripping. And do a little scrubbing on those things, get them cleaned up. They all seem to be okay. I wasn't having any actual misfire codes other than just some lean misfires and stuff. So I'm going to get those cleaned up. I'm going to send those spark plugs again. I'm not kidding. I didn't bring any with me. I don't have any way to get down to the parts store, and they'll be fine. So I'm going to get those things cleaned up, get those coil packs cleaned up, and we're about ready to set this intake on. All right, let's get this thing slapped on here. Get going. Dropping some of these intake bolts in. There's one piece of advice if you are doing this job, be careful with torquing these bolts. There is a sequence to torquing these bolts, and if you don't do it right, it's just a big hunk of plastic. You'll crack these things, you'll have all kinds of problems. So you want to make sure you're paying attention to what you do here. Alright, I am going to do myself a favor here and clean this nasty thing up. I'm just going to hit it in the wire wheel for a bit and get all that junk and corrosion, all that, just asking to start leaking. So if it wasn't already, it may have been. Anyway, we're going to hit this thing. Alright, we got our rebuilt thermostat housing here. Oh, crap, I gotta get the parts. Now normally I'm not a big fan of running these aftermarket thermostats, but these are simple enough to change. And if I have any issue with it, well, I'll change it. I didn't want that stuff there anymore. Alright, so brackets I'm not going to use because they're cheap pieces of junk. Well, I say that and then I'll probably end up needing it because I think these intakes sit a little bit higher than the stock ones. I still have yet to figure out what that actually goes to. If you know, let me know. Alright, make junk out of here. So now the biggest thing, I need these two spacers sitting there, yes sir. And I need our Hypothermostat. Yep, looks like a thermostat. Just drop that guy in there. Drop the O-ring in there. Drop that in there. And use that. And our bolts. Alright, we got all the intake bolts in place. I'm going to run these around, torque them down. I won't bore you with all that, but then we'll start putting our refurbished spark plugs and remanufactured coils in. Alright, just like with the thermostat housing, coolant temp sensor, we're going to go ahead and give that a quick rebuild and send it again. There we go. Still better than half the junk you pull out of the box from the parts stores normally. And yeah, pretty much brand new rebuild. So we'll get this slapped in. Alright, we'll start throwing our remanufactured spark plugs in this thing. And we're about on the home stretch here. Now after I got these spark plugs pulled out, I did go ahead and blow some air down the tubes and shoot a little juice down there. Try and clean them up, run a towel in there, stuff like that. So this thing probably is going to smoke pretty good when I go to fire it up. But hey, as long as it runs, right? Oh, I forgot to gap them. Yep. Alright, throw this side in, and we can start putting our refurbished coils in. Alright, coil pack time. Get these things chucked in here. We're about ready to start sending this thing. Not too much longer. After a little rig jobbing, we get that bracket to work. Neither of them fit very well. I had to cut that one up, so slap this bad boy back on. Okay, final piece of the puzzle here. There we go. Fill her up with coolant and let's see what it does. Close the drain plug on the radiator first though. Well, let's see what we got. Yep. Well, successful. Shut up. Alright, well, successful first test drive. Just drove it down the road to the gas station, filled her up. What's left to do with this thing? It's just jam her straight on the highway. I gotta go pick up my kid from grandma's house, and yeah, what better test? About, well, you know, 35, 45 minutes, depending on traffic, and yeah, we'll see how this thing's doing. It cleaned up eventually. I'm in park. Why do you want the seatbelt on? Anyway, she was running rough there for a little bit. I just went in with the scan tool, cleared all the adaptives, reset the memory on it, and let it come up to temp. It's relearned all its, you know, idle, everything like that, all its fuel trims, and she's running pretty good now. Got the battery charged up. That thing was actually frozen, but it seems to be holding now. Let it sit on the floor in there and get good and warm. Threw it on the battery charger the whole time I was doing that. And yeah, seems to be working fine. Obviously, we'll give it a good charge on the way up there. I got the old boost pack with me just in case. But yeah, temp looks good. Oil pressure looks good. Everything looks good. All right, that's enough of that. There, happy now? So anyway, yeah, not much left to do but jam this thing out on the highway and see how it does. I'll get back to you. You know, I was smelling burning leaves on the way up here. Should probably clean this thing out. Guys, I thought I smelled a little hot when I first fired this thing up this morning. I just got back to park it in the spot that it was in. Yeah, that's all burnt leaves. I didn't even think to check. I got going down the road, it smelled like burning leaves. And yeah, apparently these all caught on fire. Yeah, watch that kind of stuff. Well, if you haven't noticed, I'm not in the Grand Marquis. I am out on the highway though. I made it just a little bit outside of town. I think that thing had maybe one too many lean backfires and running ridge, doing all kinds of weird stuff for me trying to just get it up there, and a little bit of playing around with it I did before that. I made it just outside of town, got on the highway trying to get up to speed, and I had no power. None. Around town, it's okay. Pardon the old F-150 here, but yeah, no power to the thing, unfortunately. So got it home. That exhaust is just hot as all get out. I have a feeling we got some plugged cats going, so I'm gonna have to look into that. But anyway, I still gotta go pick up my girls, so out on the highway we go. The old 5.0's got plenty of power to get down the highway. So anyway, not the ending I wanted, but you know, hey, at least it can move around town and not have to carry a jump pack with me. But anyway, that's probably going to end this one off. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Don't forget to leave me a comment. Let me know what you guys want to see of that thing. Anyway, that'll do it for today. We're going to rip on the F-150 a little bit more and haul Bud up to Des Moines. We'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching.